Welcome to episode 119 of the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business. I'm Brian Fisher. In the previous episode, 118, our guest was Justin Goodbread, discussing planning for business exit. Today's episode discusses executive coaching with Susanne Biro. This podcast series is targeted to business owners and C-suite executives. It reflects my 34 years as a business owner and subsequent years as a business mentor and consultant. It focuses on the various subjects and topics to help you run a successful, profitable business. They're approximately 15 minutes long, so you can listen while commuting. Hopefully, you'll find one or two takeaways to implement per episode. Based out of the Greater Vancouver area, Susanne Biro is the founder and president of Susanne Biro Coaching, Inc. Susanne is a coach to C-suite and executive-level leaders. She is also a senior facilitator, author, designer, TEDx and keynote speaker, and Forbes and CEO Magazine contributor. For over 2 decades, she has worked internationally with senior-level leaders. Clients include top physician leaders at the Mayo Clinic, presidents of General Electric businesses, C-suite at the fastest-growing digital agency in the world, CEO and entire SLT at numerous organizations, and executives responsible for billions of dollars and thousands of employees on multiple continents. She is the author of I Want You to Win, Coaching Skills for Creative Leadership, a program designed to advance the coaching and leadership effectiveness of senior-level leaders. She is also co-author of Together, a 2-day executive team development program, as well as the book Unleashed, Leader as Coach, and the corresponding 2-day workshop, which has been adopted by organizations like American Airlines, American Express, Eastman Chemical, General Electric, Group Health, Masco, Mayo Clinic, Salesforce.com, St. Jude Medical, among numerous others. Let's welcome Susanne Biro. Susanne, welcome to the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business.
Brian, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us today, Susanne. Susanne, I'm always interested in people's stories. What's your background in becoming the founder and president of Susanne Biro Coaching, Inc.?
It's a great question. The short version is when I went to university, I studied everything under the sun, and psychology was the only textbook that I was more interested in reading than I was watching TV. So I figure I should probably do my undergrad in psychology, so I did that. While I did that, my mother insisted that I work in her barbershop to put myself through school. And so learning a background in psychology while simultaneously being in a barbershop where most of our clients were Supreme Court judges, company presidents, I learned really how to interact with very powerful men, and there was mostly men because it was a barbershop, and to see the human side of them, that they were still people. And because when you're barbering, you got half an hour with someone in your chair and you're touching them, so it's very personal. I had to learn really quickly how to connect with these men, how to make it an enjoyable experience. And I just fell in love with really understanding business men, the companies they ran. So that's my background. And then coming out of school, I worked for a large advertising agency and I hired my own executive coach. And I just fell in love with the process. It fundamentally changed how I saw myself, what I believed was possible for me. And I thought, that's what I want to do. And so then I went on to study coaching, executive coaching, and did my master's in applied behavior science. And here I am 24 years later. So I do feel like I learned more about what I do for a living, though, from my time in the barbershop than probably all my 10 years of formal education.
You probably did. And that's a great background, especially for this episode's topic is executive coaching. What is executive coaching and why do executives need coaching?
I think most of us these days have some sense of executive coaching. When I first started 24 years ago, very few people understood what it was. But essentially, we think of the analogy to sports coaching, a sports coach. There's some great analogy that we understand from that is a coach is someone who, because they're not in the game and they're external to the person or the executive, they're able to see the game, the player, the athlete in a way that the athlete can't see themselves. So it's executive coaching is a partnership with someone who's very successful, who wants to be more successful. And it's a partnership where we come together to go, how can we make you more successful? And here's some things that you might not know or recognize or see in yourself, so that that executive can be challenged, affirmed, and focused, and so that they can perform ever more effectively. It's very lonely at the top. And so to have a confidential place where you can be yourself, be a human being, and really talk through some of the challenging things that face you in your business and your team and running the organization really can be invaluable.
Following up on that, how can executives untangle complex situations and make critical decisions with clarity?
I think there's so much, I'm sure you feel this too, there's so much noise coming at each and every one of us these days. I mean, the volume of information that we are being faced with and the pace of change is unprecedented. So your question's a really good one. I believe that more than ever, what's needed now is for us to really get clear on our values, who we are, and who we want and intend to be in and for the world, and then use those as a guide. Because every complex opportunity, decision can be simplified if we come back to our core values, and they're an opportunity for us to live our core values. So I think I like to simplify it as, who do you most want and intend to be? Know who that is. And when you're faced with any kind of fork in the road or difficult conversation you need to have or key decision, come back to your values, because your answer will be there.
We're speaking with Susanne Biro, founder and president of Susanne Biro Coaching. Susanne, executives might be great at what they do, or they are great at what they do, but to be truly great, they must generally care about and work toward the success of other people. Why is that so important?
Yeah, I would say not everyone agrees with this statement. It certainly would be my belief system from my 24 years experience, because my definition of leadership is nothing more than the ability to work exceptionally well with and through other people. And we do that up, down, across, and both inside and outside of our organizations. And if we want to do that well, we generally have to care and want and root for the success of other people. And when we do this, people outperform for the business, and we create trust, camaraderie. Everyone's giving their discretionary effort. When we fail to do this, people feel like they're just a pawn on our chessboard, and nothing moves as quickly or as robustly as it could. I don't think we can fake it. We either care about other people and their ultimate success as much as we care about our own, or we don't. Either way, people feel it. But there certainly would be evidence, and there's a body of research that really is evidence that to the extent that we generally care, root for, coach, develop, and want other people's success as much as we want our own, we are not only seen as more effective leaders, but we outperform with the business in very concrete, measurable ways.
That leads into this next question. How do successful executives take a group of professionals and turn them into a team?
That's such a good question, because we can have a group of really great, smart professionals, but that doesn't make them a team. And sometimes it's harder when you have just a whole room of top performers for them to become a team. What's needed to become a team if we have to see each other as ourselves, right? We take the us versus them, and now it becomes us. And so how do we do that? Through vision, values, mission, culture, clarity of roles and responsibilities. But we have to get people to see that we are one, first and foremost. And we have to give them a vision, some vision of doing something important together in the world, something we cannot do alone. Because with a grand vision, people will forget their petty day-to-day preoccupations and come together to serve something so much higher. And it's where we thrive. But we need someone to name, who could we be together? What can we do together? And then to lead that is because without any kind of leadership, Peter Drucker said, only three things occur in an organization: frustration, confusion, and underperformance. Everything else requires leadership.
Well, Susanne, what results or lessons learned have you seen with businesses and individuals that have implemented your recommendations?
First of all, I don't give a lot of recommendations. I don't give advice. What I largely do is help very successful CEOs or C-suite leaders hear themselves think and act on their own good counsel, because they have so much information coming at them. I help them to focus, hear themselves, and live up to their own highest standards. So I don't give advice. I don't know how to run a multi-billion-dollar organization. They do. And so I mostly give them time to think. But I think the great outcome of coaching is one, time to hear yourself think, time to get really clear on what matters and what doesn't, time to come back to your values and who you most wanted and intended to be so that you can make decisions accordingly. And regardless of how things play out, because we only ever control so much, we're one human being, we can wake up in the morning and look back and be proud of how we handled things, who we were, and what we accomplished. And I think that is success. So what do clients get? They get clarity, focus, to feel validated and seen. I had one client who called me late at night and said the challenges, he was working for a very important nonprofit dealing with children, and said that the problems ahead of us are so great and the problem is so vast. I just wanted someone to witness how hard we are working to try to make the world better. And so sometimes it's just nice to be seen and heard so that you have the energy to continue. Because if we're leading in any capacity, it's exhausting, it's lonely, and we are swimming upstream. And so it's nice to have someone that can understand your world, see you, and help you to want to continue.
Boy, that's sure the truth. A lot of times you feel like you're the Lone Ranger. You're out there on a limb by yourself. You just need somebody to validate or challenge what you're thinking about.
Yes. Yeah.
We're speaking with Susanne Biro, founder and president of Susanne Biro Coaching. Susanne, is there anything I've not asked that you'd like to add?
Oh, it's such a great question. Oh, I'd love to make sure that everyone listening here has something that they can walk away with. When I'm asked a keynote, it's primarily what I keynote on, and it's an invitation. If you don't already have a practice like this, I invite you to consider this one. It's called a daily morning practice, and it's extremely useful for anyone leading a business, leading a family, trying to do important work and make tomorrow better than today. So here it is. I want you to set aside 5 minutes every morning. If it's useful, set a timer on your phone. And I want you to decide, who do you most want and intend to be today as you handle the 1,000,001 things required of you? Set an intention. I want to be approachable. I want to be warm. I want to be friendly. I want to offer value. Then for the remaining 5 minutes, I want you to write down as many good, exciting, inspiring thoughts as the day could hold for you if you would only let it. Then take that out at least once during the day. I recommend just before you eat lunch, so it's some sort of trigger for you to remember to reread it so that you can ground yourself. Whatever you do, don't dismiss simple practice like this as simplistic or overly Pollyanna. If you are diligent in this one daily morning practice, I promise that it will pay off for you in ways you can't even begin to conceive. It's so useful for us to orient ourselves to who we most want and intend to be so that we can be the kind of person and leader we most want to be. Because when you get squeezed with the pressures of leadership in life, the only thing that can come out of us is what's playing out on the inside. So we need to make the inside beautiful, filled, good. So decide who you want to be and then orient yourself to all the beautiful, wonderful things that you could choose to focus yourself on today if you only decided to. a practice like this has the potential to change just about everything in your life. One client that I worked with at the tail end of our work, I had him do this practice throughout our entire 6 months. And at the tail end of our work, he said, there used to be a lot of jerks in my world. I don't know where they all went. So I hope that serves you well.
How can people get in contact with you, Susanne?
The very best one source to go to would be my website, which is SusanneBiro.com. That's SUSANNE, B as in Bob, IRO, SusanneBiro.com. And you will find everything from my blog, which are all 3-minute reads with one big idea and one way to apply it, my app, my podcast, and my soon to be available book that's coming this year. You can also follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn, but all those links will be available on my website.
Thank you for joining us today, Susanne, on the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business. My sincere thanks to Susanne Biro for joining us today. Managing the performance of your company is one of the most important things you can do as a leader. This podcast is on YouTube and over 20 podcast directories. In search, type BCF ORG. Be sure to leave a space between BCF and ORG. And don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow the podcast. If you'd like to reach out to me for business mentoring or consulting, schedule a speaking engagement, ask questions, make comments, suggest ideas, or potentially be a guest like Susanne, please go to bcforg.com. There's a red Contact Us button in the middle of the homepage. All the podcasts are available by clicking on the website podcast page in the reference bar. These podcasts will be released the first and third Tuesday each month. In the next episode, 120, our guest will be Randy Lyman, discussing purpose-driven success. In business, running a successful, profitable business is the ultimate scorecard. You are never done and can always be better. It tends to be more fun than work, frustrating at times, but can be very rewarding. From BCF ORG Corp., I'm Brian Fisher, wishing you the best. Thanks.